TAQ Capital. Technical analysis quickly.
This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Before taking any action based on the information provided on this channel, it is recommended that you seek the advice of a professional licensed financial advisor.
Let's do this.
All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is TAQ Capital, where I give you technical analysis without the hype, FUD, and hopium. And I try to get it done quickly. So let's dive right into the holy shit of holy shits. This coin went absolutely bananas last night. So let's just back up a minute. This is since the peak of the market back here, and we've been in this white wedge. So there's one, there's two, there's three, and we just had breakout. Now, Bitcoin's not broken out. Ethereum's not broken out. So just because we're broken out here on Atom doesn't mean that there's no more downside like this on the other side of this. This is not a coin that governs the market. However, it is worth noting that we've definitely broken up. So I'm going to zoom in on this green wedge here, because this is what we've been in since we bottomed out back here on June 18th. Okay, this is the 4-hour chart, and this is how it was laid out. And you'll notice these breakouts here, and that's what I'm about to talk about. I'm going to use the replay tool, though. So as things were unfolding here, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and we would have anticipated a breakout, right? But that's not what happened. So let's continue with the replay tool. So we came down, we hit there. And this is what we thought our bounce would have been before we break down and out. And again, that wasn't the case. Keep going. So then we wicked out, bounced back in. And even 9 times out of 10, this creates a redraw. So that should have been redrawn down there. But you see we pulled off of here. So that means that we had 1, 2. This became 3, which means that is 4. Because we'd have to move it to miss there. So we would drag this upper one up like this. And I just couldn't fathom that we were going to make that run that quickly. I just couldn't. So this is what I mean when the charts don't lie. You can like it or not, but they don't lie. And I just didn't see that coming. I mean, thank God I wasn't in a short on this coin. But you'll notice yesterday I did say the title of my video said here, Adam waiting on Bitcoin to make a decision. Could be a great short opportunity if Bitcoin drops. And as we well know, Bitcoin did not drop. And Bitcoin gave us no signal of dropping, really. I mean, it was a very, very mild retracement, which you can see here. Because at the time of my recording, the wedge was like this. So we were doing this mild, weak retracement. It wasn't like dropping down, bouncing out. It came down for a second, and then it sort of went sideways. And then this right here, this is the one that changed everything. Because that, we had to take the orange line and drop it. And just in dropping it that far, we then went from 1, 2, 3, 4 being the original, to 1, 2, 3, 4. So once this happened, it was either a test, pop out, and then down, or how it usually is 9 times out of 10, it's a redraw of that bottom line. And essentially that was the weak ass breakout. That was it. And then it shot up. So it actually ended up being drawn like this. 1, 2, instead of 3 here, 3 there, 4, and now we're looking for a down and breakout. But it may not happen. It may be something that goes more like this, because it keeps pulling the Kijins up and up and up. So that can also mean that this is just a slow retracement, something more like this than a straight down. But there's nothing guaranteeing that we're not going up. And you can watch the Bitcoin Ethereum video I put up already, and that'll get into that. So let me get out of Bitcoin and go back over to Atom. So back to the replay here. We took off back up, and then this was where it's starting to get, this is way too big of a bounce. This is no longer a bounce. This is huge. But it came back down and out. So now you're redrawing yet again. Now you've got to bring this down here. We keep going. See, way too big for a bounce. This is just huge. The percentages that we're going here, I mean, let's even just draw that up. Turn on my measuring tool. 32% just to there. That's an enormous bounce. Hence, not a bounce. But let's continue. And then from there, we just took off. Just took off to the races. Let's see. Oh, that was the end of it. So this was starting September 6th at 8 p.m. And we went on a 50% run in 3 days. I just didn't see that coming. I mean, again, the wedges said it. Again, I should have listened. But that's why I said yesterday in the video, if Bitcoin does not drop, don't get in this coin. And if you watch that video, you see that was the shorts. The fact that I liked it for a short was mainly because it was the Ichimoku cloud had such a gigantic space between the Kijin and the Tenkin, just showing that it was overbought. But overbought, doesn't care, apparently. Bitcoin goes on a run, this thing tears as well. But you can arguably say it didn't even have anything to do with Bitcoin and had everything to do with this pop out. And that's why you just need to believe them. Believe the charts, even if they tell you something that sounds absolutely insane, because they've shown you time and time again that they can deliver on absolutely insane. So that was my error. But I'm so glad that I said, watch Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin goes up, stay the hell out of this coin. So hopefully all of you did that out there. So that explains what happened. Now let's look at what's happening and let's zoom in. So I've got some wedges drawn trying to figure out where stuff's going at this point as it unfolded. Because even here, we had the 1, 2, 3, 4, and it should have been a down and out, but it wasn't, and it continued to go up. And I'm like, where the hell is this thing going? So we drew this, which is an upward wedge, and you can see we shot up. So that doesn't mean that this was a wedge that backfired and blew up. What it means is that that wasn't a wedge, because you'd actually have to change it. Because realistically, this was me just scrambling, trying to find some answers, like what the hell is going on? When in reality, at the time, I would have had it drawn more out here. So let me show you how that would break down. It would have looked something like this, because this is the last hit off our current wedge, which is the pink wedge. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we would have waited for this bounce down and out, which then would have completed the pink. And that would have made sense. But Adam had different ideas. So when the white wedge broke up, all that means is that we take this and we pivot it up to wherever it ended up hitting. So then it would look like this. 1, come on, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to have 4 somewhere in here because we have to miss that hit right there. So I just move the white line down enough to miss that, and then 4th hit will be somewhere over here. So continuing from there, I was just trying to explain this wedge away. We went up, we hit here, and we came down so fast you couldn't even draw a wedge. So then we've got the green that swiveled back and forth, but I got to zoom in to get a really good look at it. Okay, we had a hit here, 2, 3, 4, miss, and we broke down out of the green. We had some sideways action in the blue for a second, which was 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're technically still in it because I drug it down further, because originally it was actually, oh, I'm still in replay, because originally it actually came more here. So once we had the little bounce here, we broke down and out of it, we sort of worked our way back in. And because we're coming back in, we know it's going to be more like this. So what do we have going on? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're currently in a bounce. I don't think we're coming up here, but this is the bounce that we're in, which fits inside this larger purple wedge, which started with the peak. 1, 2, 3, and we're doing this, so I think we're going to come back down and hit 4. Now, it's possible this goes up a little bit more, and this ends up becoming 3, which would look like this. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. And then within this purple wedge, we've got the white wedge. So the white wedge has just, I can't say it's been broken. It hasn't even played out. I've just kind of got the lines laying here, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So if we take it from the last hit on the blue, we got 1, 2, 3, and maybe it'll go 4 and then break up. Maybe that'll give us our purple spot before we come down. I'm not sure, but this is more of that sideways action crap I'm talking about. The same thing we had before. It's not giving us a lot of answers. I mean, to me, if I kick on the Bollinger Bands here and you jump out to like the 1 hour, we can see that we're forming this. And if this comes up too far, we're going to be more like this. And we're going to have this tunnel form. And I mean, who knows where we're going to be at that point? We're just basically moving straight sideways from where wick meets candle on the big candle. And if you jump down to the 30-minute, you can see that we're already in that tunnel right here. So we came down and we're working our way up, and I'm not sure where we're going to go. We blew way outside of it here. So there's no way in all form of logic that we shouldn't be coming down and out the other side. But, I mean, you've got the red, the Kijin flipped over the tank in there. So that's potentially bearish. But then it did it right at a green candle that's, pushing almost 1%. So it's being very misleading, very deceitful. It's not letting us in. It's playing its cards close to his chest, or whatever other analogy you want to use. I'm not really seeing what's happening here. If we jump up to time frames, the 45-minute tells us we should be coming down to the Kijin because we haven't hit it once yet. But here we are, not hitting the Kijin. The 1 hour, same. 2 hour, same. But even on the 2 hour, it's pulled it up because this is so bullish still here at the top and refusing to come down that it's now pulled the Kijin up higher. If we continue, 3 hour, that's the Kijin's holding strong on 3 hour. 4 hour, 5 hour, 6 hour. Okay, these are looking a little bit better, but you got to keep in mind too, the Tenkin and the Kijin, while the Tenkin is standing up and can definitely call candles back down, they're still so close together. So you could be coming down like this before you go back up some more. And then you would just move your green line up a little bit higher to make that connection before we come crashing down. There could be more upside because this is not a normal retracement. I mean, with as far as we're out here on the 6 hour, I mean, this should be crashing down and going out the other end. I mean, yeah, it has to zigzag, so maybe something like that. But it should be a free fall, and it's not. And this just goes to show the bullish sentiment in the market right now. It's doing shit that it just isn't supposed to do. I mean, in here, you've got the 8 hour. These are like on top of each other. It looks like the Tenkin is slightly pointing down while the Kijin is pointing up more. So the Kijin might actually be passing the Tenkin, but I mean, they're on top of each other. So this should have already come way down. This 8 hour, we're way outside the Bollinger Band. I don't know how this is sustainable. Like yesterday when I was talking about it being a good short, if Bitcoin goes down, it did not look like this good of a short. I mean, you have a 12-hour candle completely outside of the Bollinger Band, and it doesn't give a damn. 16-hour, 20-hour, daily. I mean, daily is still standing right up. Now, I anticipate daily is going to come over like this, and you'll either have it straight across on the Tenkin, or you're going to have it come slightly up, and it'll be more like this. So I'll probably call that, and then this will work its way down, and by 8 o'clock tomorrow, this might turn into that, while this continues straight. And then you'll be calling the candles down more. So this is going to be a slow retracement, is my guess. And then, again, be prepared for possibly some more upside depending on what happens. I do not like how we've got these things so close together, the Tenkin and the Kijin, on the 8 hour, 9 hour, 10 hour, 11 hour, and 12 hour. 12's not so bad. 12 should stand up like this at 8 o'clock and give us something more like that. And if that happens, you're probably going to see the 11 hour do something like this while this continues to go straight. And then it might start to unfold like this as it continues to pull these things down into the mouth. But we shall see how this unfolds. That's really it for me today on Atom. Be mindful of Bitcoin, whatever you do. Whatever altcoin you're in, you should be watching Bitcoin on one side and your coin on the other, because Bitcoin is going to really control what happens here, I believe, because everything from a retracement standpoint says it should be retracing, but instead it's lingering. Like who? Like Bitcoin. So as soon as Bitcoin decides to make a move down like that, I think it's going to break down over here as well. But anyway, that's it for me today, guys. I don't think I'm going to be putting up another video. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, useful, like, share, and subscribe. My other socials are down below. Instagram is probably where I'm going to turn to for the most updates, should anything transpire here, because they're quick and, to the point. And that's it for me. Have a great day out there. I'll catch you in the next video.